A little while ago, we had a video called 5 Interesting Trick Takers from Japan, and in it, we told you to let us know if you wanted us to go in depth from any of the games that we covered. Well, one of the games got an overwhelming response from you, with some of you telling us that it has been your long-time grail game. Well, minasan konnichiwa and welcome to the Board Game Dojo's Import or Not series, where we take a look at games from Asia and let you know if they're worth your hard-earned money to import or not. Today we are looking at the dice and bidding trick-taking game from Japan, Lambdice. And as people have said, it's their grail game. So is this worth not only the money to import it, but is it worth the time it takes to find this game? That is going to be on today's episode. This is Lambdice. Lambdice only has its manual in Japanese, so I'm going to teach you how to play the game in this video, but don't worry, it's not going to take me very long because there aren't that many rules. To start, deal out cards to each player. In a 4-player game, each player will get 10 cards, and in a 3-player game, each player will get 11 cards. Each player will also get a starting set of dice, getting one color of each of the 5 suits in the game. Throughout the round, players will be playing tricks that are one less than the number of cards that they start with. So in a 4-player game, you'll be playing 9 tricks, and in a 3-player game, you'll be playing 10 tricks. The first thing each player will do will be to take a look at their hand, and they will bid on how many tricks they think that they will win. To place their bid, the players will be using one of their 5 starting dice, meaning that one of these dice is not going to be used that round. They will put it in this box to show how much they bid, and they get to keep the other 4 in front of them. Lambdice is a must-follow trick-taking game, meaning that if a player plays a card, like in this case a yellow, then the players afterwards must play a yellow if they have that in their hand. But the must-follow trick-taking is not why you're here, and not why this game has been made. No, you're here for these lovely, lovely dice. Dice can be used for 2 purposes in this game, one of which is to change the color of the suit of the card. So in this case, even though I played a blue, because I put a yellow dice on it, this card becomes a yellow card. The other use is to adjust the value of the card. Some cards, like this one, have an active zone spot on the card, which is kind of this echoey style art on the outside of the square. You'll see that the other side is this inactive zone because it doesn't have an echo. This echo spot means that you can put a die there. This inactive zone means you cannot put one there. In this case, I'm going to put my die here, and I'll show you why I want to do that. If some players played die on their cards this round, after everybody has played their card, the players who played dice on their cards will then roll for it. In this case, this person rolled a 6, and this person rolled a 1. So in this case, this person now has 10, meaning that they win the trick. But they don't just win all of 4 cards that were taken, they also get the 2 dice. One other thing of note is that if 2 players rolled and they got a tie, you would just re-roll in that instance. Like I said earlier, in a 4-player game, you'll do this 9 times, and in a 3-player game, you'll do this 10 times, and then you have end of round scoring. The end of round scoring is always a good time because you get to see how it all paid off for you. The first thing that you'll do is figure out whether or not you hit your bid for the round. If you did, great, you get 10 points. If you didn't, well, you get 0 points. It's all or nothing here. But the second thing is the devious bonus, multiplier. You'll see how many tricks that you won in that round, and then you get a chance to have that bonus, multiplier. If you took the most amount of dice of anyone at the table, then, well, you get a bonus multiplier of 0. And last time I checked, any number times 0 is 0. Not great. The player who took the second most dice gets a bonus multiplier of 1, and so on. Meaning that if you took the least amount of dice in the round, well, in a 3-player game, you get to double your trick score, and in a 4-player game, you get to triple it, which can completely swing the game. And that's why it is so important to figure out throughout the round how best to use those dice. Now the manual says to play 4 rounds of this, and whoever has the most points at the end of 4 rounds wins. But you can play as many rounds as you like. I've also played it with 3 and 2 and almost never with 1 because it's kind of like a Lay's potato chip that you can never have just one. But maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, and maybe we should just start getting into the review. We are in what many reviewers call a trick-taking renaissance, with reviewers, including myself, trying to come up with new adjectives to describe these new trick-takers that are coming out. Quite often we come up with words like clever or interesting, unique, and trick-takers that I've never seen before. And yet, when thinking about what word best describes Lambdice, the one that I think best encapsulates the feeling that I have when playing this game is just plain fun. There is something just so inherently fun about playing with dice and rolling to see if the odds are in your favor. And playing with dice is the reason why games like Can't Stop have been a core of board gaming for so many years. There's one situation that can happen that best exemplifies how fun this game can be, and it comes at the end of the round. You see, sometimes there might be 2 or 3 or maybe all 4 players that need to win one more trick to hit their bid. They put their card out and they put down one of the die to hopefully win that final trick, and yet they look around the table and the next person has also done the same thing, and the next person has also done the same thing, and now you're suddenly staring at each other. You are going to have a final roll-off to see who will win that round. It reminds me of playing an RPG where you've been playing so hard for that session and it all comes down to a final roll of the die. Did your strategy pay off? Are you going to beat the big boss at the end? It all comes down to a roll of the dice. And this, at the end of the round, crescendos into an intense moment where everybody just 1, 2, 3 roll, that even if you're not a part of the roll-off, it's an intensity that you can't help but feel intrigued by. Now, don't get me wrong, this game is not just about if the odds are in your favor. There is also plenty of strategic depth to be had. The first important decision starts right away with, after you look at your hand, you need to choose which die is expendable to be your bidding die for that round. And then right away, after everybody has chosen their die, what, if any, information can you glean from seeing which colored die your opponents have chosen to get rid of? There are lots of little ways of how best to use the cards and how best to use the dice and the timing that you need, that I'm not going to tell you all the little things that have revealed themselves to us over our games. But one thing I think best exemplifies how this game can open up itself, and that is in how the dice change the meta in our game. You see, in the first couple games that we played of this, we were using the dice exclusively to change the colors of the cards and to win the tricks that we wanted to win. I would take the purple dice and put it on the purple card, and suddenly I would go from a 4 to a 9 or something like that because I really wanted to win that trick. And yet, after a couple of games, we realized that the dice could be just as, if not more important, to be used to lose. Because while it's important to hit that bid, those 10 points are really important, it is also important to move up in that multiplier bonus that you get. So if you know that one of your opponents really wants to win that trick, they're showing their hand, they have played that 9 right away to start off, then maybe then I can stick them with one of the die that I don't want. And then they will win the trick, of course, but they'll also win the dice, which means that they might have won this trick, but I'm winning in terms of that I just moved up in the ranks of who's going to get the larger bonus multiplier at the end of the round. And this can change the entire landscape of the game itself. It can be silly, but it can also be a little bit of sticking it to your opponents. It's that point of the game where your opponent knows that what you did was smart, but you turn to you and go, ooh, I hate you, but well played. And it gives you more important decisions that you need to make with even a single dice. This purple dice has turned into a plethora of possibilities. Do I use it to turn a card into a purple? Do I use it to add in value to a purple card? Do I use it to make a card stronger? Or do I use it to stick one of my opponents with the die that they don't want? And with only 9 or 10 tricks to be played, there is no time to second guess yourself. You are very quickly going to have to decide, and I mean this with very much pun intended, the strategy you're going to roll with. Now, I'm not even trying to hide it. I am very much positive on this game, and we'll give our rating in a little bit, but I do just have to point out that this game is not going to be for everyone. I have found especially that some who are more into the more traditional trick takers are bouncing off this one pretty hard, mostly because there is never really, or at least very rarely, a chance to have 100% certainty that you are going to win the trick. In other trick-taking games, there is an enjoyment to be had when you know that you have a yellow 8 and the yellow 9 has been played, the yellow 7 has been played, the yellow 6 has been played, and you are thinking, I got this one in the bag, I need to win this trick, and so I'm going to play this yellow 8 so I can win. But in this game, it is never that certain, because not only can a yellow 5 plus a die beat you, but somebody can change the color from a different suit to your yellow as well. And yes, there is a point in which you can say, okay, are there any yellow dice left on the table and things like that? But it is more of an exception and not the rule that you are going to be certain of winning any certain trick. If that is your predominant enjoyment of trick-taking games, I don't think that this one is going to be for you. But with that aside, if you are somebody who is okay with rolling with the punches, if you are okay with having a strategy and a lot of the game being how well you do when that plan goes awry, and how best you can use a token of luck to your strategic advantage, then I can't recommend Lambdice enough to you. And that gets us to our final point, which is this game worth it? Because not only is it going to be a time-consuming challenge to find this one, even if you do, it is going to put you out 40, 50, maybe even 60 US dollars. And this makes me a little bit nervous as a conclusion, because I am not only saying that it is well worth it, I am saying that it is a 2-star. If you are not somebody in that group that I mentioned might bounce off of this earlier, I think that this will become an essential game in your collection. Notice that I didn't just say essential trick-taking game, I said an essential game. Because quite often I find myself pulling this off the shelf, not because I want a clever trick-taker, or not because I want a fun trick-taker, it's because I want a fun game. It is a fun game whether I am introducing it to somebody new to board gaming or somebody who is well versed in gaming. It is a game that I can pull off the shelf if I have somebody who is new to trick-taking or somebody who has played them all. It is one of the most well-rounded packages that I have seen from a trick taker in a while. The production is top quality for a Dojin game. The cards feel nice in your hand. It makes me want to play it again and again with all avenues of people. Not only with people that I have played with and we have formed a meta with, but also I want to see how new people find new ways to solve this little bit of a luck-filled strategy puzzle. If you are at all interested in a trick-taking game that has strategy and a side dish of luck, I cannot recommend Lambdice enough. Thank you so much for watching today. Arigatou gozaimasu. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. We are on the road to 500 subscribers. If we can get there by my birthday, which is mid-October, I would be over the moon happy about it. Mata, arigatou gozaimasu. Until next time, ja ne!